If you don't have that, then you are certainly going to be missing out. So what are we looking at here when we talk about online? You know, it's not just enough to have one type of physical location. You know, you need to go to where the people are at. And there are all sorts of, everyone, whether it be, and certainly you speak to younger people these days, and certainly anybody who's in technology, the web and your website, the various social media handles that you might be utilizing, whether that be, and we know the problems of Facebook and so on more recently, but even those types of handles, you've got to make sure that you are what we call omnipresent on the handles, so that there are a lot more people that can gain access to you. The more channels that you have clearly means the more people that you can reach. And one of the things that we realized with churches that actually adopted the technology early was that they actually grew their membership. I'm not sure if any of you had that sort of experience. Is that, yeah? And I say this for the simple fact that there are ministers who have lots of what we call transient members. So these are members who might come in from other parts of the world, visit with you in one moment, and then they visit with you for a few weeks, or they visit with you once or twice a year. The fact that you are now online meant that they could actually visit with you week in, week out, okay? And I think that's really, really important to make sure that that happens, because your membership then is growing. Now, I touched on earlier about the fact that Facebook and WhatsApp, and in fact, how many of you were put out by that whole outage the other day? Yeah, certainly. Well, I can tell you, we actually, within the company, we use a WhatsApp group to communicate with each other. And we were sending WhatsApps, and I was like, why is this not working? And I was like, really, really quite frustrated. Thankfully, we also have our own internal ability to be able to communicate. And I think this is something, again, when we look at an online strategy, it's about saying, what can we do for ourselves, to have for ourselves, to manage for ourselves, whilst there are all of these worldwide type social media handles that are fantastic and for the most part work quite well. But what can we utilize for ourselves? Is there something that we can be doing so we can manage and we can look after our own close-knit individuals? Yeah, we know, like I said last week, Facebook, Instagram, the WhatsApp, they all went down. That would have caused all sorts of problems to people. And this wasn't just local, this was around the world. So I'll be honest with you, it was unprecedented. But there's also a need to increase, there is also increased censorship also online. Be mindful of that. And there is a lot more dictation going into what churches can and can't say. And I think we've probably all come across some of the things where there are particular movements that want to involve themselves in essence, the way the churches carry out what they're doing. So we just have to be mindful in the way we carry out our churches, and to be able to preach the message the way God intended that message to be preached. Okay? And that's really important. Having a backup plan. You know, what else can we utilize? Should we be utilizing other things? Okay, and there are numerous opportunities for you to be looking at that. One such opportunity is looking at something like one of the apps that we provide. Okay, and the app in itself is what we call a closed loop type app. So you can download the app from the Play Store and from the iStore and so on. And your members can attach themselves to your church as the leader of the church, or the trustees of that church, or whoever is administrating that. You can then invite those, you can then authenticate those individuals to say, yes, you are part and parcel of my closed loop, so that you don't have to have it. It's not something that is just out there that individuals can just download and start using. At the very least, they need to have an idea of who you are and you who they are, for the messages that you might wish to share with them. But again, what we're looking at here is, what can we put in place to enhance or to create our digital strategy? What can we do to give us a backup plan when other things might fail, as we've just recognized? And also, what are the benefits of actually of actually utilizing something like this for us in our churches in the way that we are. So certainly in terms of things like the app that I've just spoken about, there's things like the community outreach or the collaboration between you and your members and your parishioners. One of the things that app also does is the ability to increase your income, because remember, we've just spoken so one of the things it does increase your income because there is a donation capability to that app, so your members can actually make donations for any of the programs that you might have set out. So you might have a tithing program which is biblical, whether you run it or not, but you might also have more community-based programs where you're maybe providing food or clothing, or you're doing young people activities. And individuals some of these are your local members who would come faithfully week in, week out. And some of them are going to be members who are more like the transient ones that I've spoken about moments ago, where you see them now and again, but they still want to be able to support and bless through their giving. And on top of that, you also have a team of experts at Good to Give that can help to manage if there is any issues that you feel you can't overcome yourself.